Have you ever thought on how other organisms can adapt to their surrounding? We have learned some terrestrial adaptation of humans and animals. As example, our homeostasis system helps us to control our internal temperature to adapt to the temperature of surrounding, whether it's hot or cold. Or like the reptiles that have thick and dry keratin skin, which helps them to preserve their body's hydration. I'm pretty sure you haven't heard about the Bryophytes adaptation on land, so let me clear this topic up for you. Firstly, the bryophytes can adapt to land with its multicellular and dependent embryo. As we know that bryophytes are multicellular organisms in which they perform the haploid and diploid life stages, or we can also call it as alternation of generation. While the diploid life stage is called as sporophytes, the haploid life stage is known as gametophytes. The developing sporophytes or the diploid embryo in the female gametangium require nutrients and water to develop into mature sporophytes. Subsequently, this embryo will depend and rely on the gametophytes that will perform photosynthesis to obtain the nutrients needed by the embryo. Even though bryophytes are categorized as non-vascular plants, they are autotrophic since the gametophyte parts contain chloroplasts. You know that bryophytes are also known as the amphibian of plant kingdom due to the high needs of water. Since water is very essential for their growth, especially for the fertilization phase, bryophytes have the ability to conserve their moisture through their waterproof cuticle. Other than mostly exist in moist and humid environment to prevent them from being desiccated or drying out, some of the bryophytes' epidermis on leaves and other aerial parts are coated with waterproof cuticle to prevent any excessive loss of water by evaporation. Although bryophytes' cuticle are much thinner than other plants, this feature does help them to stay hydrolyzed. Have you ever wondered how does the spore can flew and then land on the ground and then turn into gametophytes without having any damage while developing? The walled sporangium is the answer. The walls of a haploid spore contain sporopollenin, which is a highly cross-linked polymer consists of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. This polymer makes the walls tough and resistant to harsh environment such as extreme climatic changes and fungus. This outer of sporangium might as well protect the spores until they are ready to be released into air. Lastly, the bryophytes could survive on the land with its multicellular gametangium. Both male gametangium or antheridium and the female gametangium or archegonium are surrounded by the sterile cells, which are non-productive cells. Just like its name, these cells are free of microorganisms and fungus, thus can protect the embryo in the archegonium and the pollen grain in the antheridium from any infection and diseases. This adaptation takes part in protecting the embryos during their development while supporting the structure of bryophytes. In conclusion, terrestrial adaptations help the organisms to survive on this land. These adaptations actually contribute to bryophytes' title as the second largest population of live plants. Without these special features for bryophytes, there could be possibilities for these organisms to extinct due to their failure to adapt to the harsh environment and extreme changes of climate on Earth. That's all from me. Thank you.